Today we play golf.
Let me show you how we do it in the pros.
Welcome to Behind the Golf Brand Podcast.
I never miss with the 7-iron.
A conversation with some of the most interesting innovators and entrepreneurs behind the biggest names in golf.
My friends with the golf clubs. I lived on the golf course. I lived on the driving range.
From pro talk
You should learn something from each and every single round you play.
to fun from on and off the green.
Why would you play golf? You don't play it for money.
Just let me put the ball in the hole.
This is Behind the Golf Brand Podcast with Paul Liberatore.
What's up, guys? Paul from Golfers Authority. Welcome to Behind the Golf Brand Podcast. We are on episode 86, and I can't believe it. And wow, 86 is a lot. And this week we're talking to my friends, the Finnerty boys, who started a new sock company called Golf Sock. It's really cool. You might recognize the name Finnerty. It's Bryan Finnerty's son from B1. He's one of our good friends of the show. And the sock company that his sons just started is freaking sick and super smart. And I can't believe how young they are, and they actually have their own company. It's cool. So without further ado, welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for having us on.
So where are you guys at right now? You guys in Michigan?
Yeah. So we're in East Lansing, Michigan right now. We've been living together for the summer. So just working and, grinding right now. Yep.
But when are you going? Okay. So listen, both these kids are sorry, not kids. These young men. You're just so younger than me, like 20 years younger than me. These guys are both really good soccer players, right? So where do you guys play soccer at right now, collegiately?
Yeah. So I play at Michigan State. I just transferred from the University of Michigan. We've been playing summer soccer together as well. Yeah, we've been playing at Lansing City right here in Lansing. And I play at Caltech, which is in Pasadena, California.
Freaking crazy, dude. Like 2 D1 schools, right? I mean, that's nuts. You have to be super good at soccer. I mean, your dad was really good at soccer, though, too, right? Your dad was a professional goalkeeper.
Yeah, he was all right. He's decent.
He's all right.
Yeah, he did his best.
So what position do you guys play?
Yeah, so I'm a goalkeeper. Like my dad, I think I took over a little bit from him. So
You guys are both goalkeepers?
I'm a center back. Owen followed his footsteps
Okay.
a little bit. But yeah, I play right in front of Owen. So yeah, we've always had that chemistry and whatnot.
Yeah, because you're better than Owen, probably.
Yeah. All right.
So what year are you in college right now? Juniors?
Yeah, so we'll both be seniors in the fall. We're twins. If that was the parent, we're both twins, and we'll both be seniors in the fall.
So did you guys redshirt, or are you not redshirt for soccer? So do you actually have 2 more years to go, or just 1 more year of soccer?
Well, I guess technically we have 1 more year, but or we have 2 years technically because of COVID, but that was just because every athlete, 2 years ago, whatever that was now, got an extra year of eligibility because of the season getting canceled. Yeah. So we'll have the senior season, and then Owen will probably be declaring for some kind of draft or maybe going overseas. And
Really?
yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. I don't want to, I don't want to inflate him too much, but
So wait. So this is your last year in college, technically, right? I mean, you're going to be graduating anyways. You could play 2 more years in college, but why would you want to? I mean, I guess maybe if you wanted to. So then after you graduate, you have the opportunities to potentially play overseas, right? Or even the United States, depending. I mean, in MLS or whatever, right? Yeah. When's the draft?
The draft's in January or early February. So right after the college.
Is the draft for the United? I know nothing about soccer, so I know a little bit. So so is the draft just for the draft in the United States, or is that for the European League stuff, or is that completely separate?
Yeah, so that's just for the MLS, which is just the United States, and then European stuff's it's more free agency. There's really no drafts. It's more just all free agency, agents getting trials or tryouts with teams. So it's a little bit different, but hopefully both routes could, maybe one could possibly work out. So I'm excited for that. Yeah.
That'd be so sick, dude, to go to Europe and play soccer.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Sick. That'd be super sick.
Yeah.
You better take that. Do you try out for teams, or how does that even work? Did teams just call you up and be like, hey, we want you to come check out Chelsea, or I don't know, whatever.
Right. If you have a good reputation and a good agent, you can kind of get in the door. And then once you get in the door, you kind of have to just, show your stuff if you get there and get an opportunity. So
yeah, prove your worth, right? You're good at that level. But I bet some European players are super crazy good, right? Just crazy good.
Level.
A whole other level.
So I'm excited for that.
So Do you have to get agents then, or do you have an agent, or how's that work? Or you do it after you get drafted?
Right. So I'm not technically allowed to have an agent right now because of like NCAA.
Oh, from college.
So many million rules like that. But, hopefully, right after you kind of declare, okay, I'm done with college, you can go down that road. So, there's a lot of weird stuff you have to like jump through hoops because of NCAA rules, but shut is, so you got to just, move on. When your dad played, he played for he played for Detroit, right? Was that like an MLS team? I don't know. Or is that some other league back then? Yeah. So that was a league that doesn't exist anymore. It was indoor league. It was like probably the top league at the time.
Yeah, it was kind of before MLS.
Before MLS was a thing.
When did MLS come out? Like in the mid 2000s, right?
No, it was like actually this is the mid 90s, 94, 95.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was. It wasn't popular until the 2000s. Really, really gaining steam.
We have a team here called the Rising, the Phoenix Rising. What league is that? That's not MLS, is it? That's something else.
No, so that's second division. It's called the USL Championship. So it's like a.
So it's like the minors essentially to like.
Yeah.
That's what somebody was telling me. Those games are fun to go to, man. They're so fast. Like I took my son to a soccer game. My buddy had like season tickets, right? First of all, I was like, "Why'd you get season tickets to them?" But now I see why. It is so much fun and it's so fast. Like, and he had really good seats. Like we were literally on the wall. Like there was a grass right there. I was like, "Oh, no wonder you have these good seats." But like, you're in and out in an hour and a half, right? The game is over. Like it's no like going to a baseball game that can take like 4 hours and you're like ready to go by the seventh inning. Like it's like, oh, already at half. Oh, okay, game over. Sweet, And I don't know. I think that was cool. We lost. I don't remember who it was, and it was packed. There were so many people there. It was crazy. Yeah. I was like, holy crap.
The atmosphere is usually pretty good. Even at those smaller teams or, smaller, it's still usually a pretty fun time.
Yeah.
But they're a feeder team essentially, right? Like those guys would go to, I think they said California or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, so a lot of those teams, the landscape's kind of changing a little bit, but a lot of those teams have like, affiliate teams, and there's another league similar that feeds into the MLS team. So it's all like kind of a system.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you each have a year to go, right? Then what? You just don't know, right? Until after the draft, and after you have a year to figure out kind of like what you want to do.
Exactly.
Dude, if it was me, look, like if I would just try it. Like I would try to make some team. I would try to do it because like when you're like 30 with kids, you're gonna be like, oh man, I should have just done it. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna look back and be all pissed off at yourself, like, because it's gonna be so much fun anyways, regardless of what you go do. I don't know, that's what I would. They'll probably pay you pretty well too.
I mean, you hope. I mean, that's the kind of goal. I mean, and then obviously like playing. A lot of people. I think the misconception is like being a pro. It's like you play from like 8 a.m. to like noon or 1, and then on any given day you have from about 1 or 2 to till you go to bed to do whatever, take care of your body. A lot of guys just rest, but so many guys that I've talked to have been able to work and create successful businesses like in that time because they have so much free time. So it's been pretty cool to hear that as well.
That's cool. So you guys are both in college. How old are you? 21?
Yep.
20?
21.
Man, I could be your dad. Actually, could I be your dad? I guess I could be your dad because I'm like half your age. Where'd you guys meet? Just kidding.
Funny.
So, were you guys good golfers like growing up? I mean, you play a lot.
We played for our high school team. We started playing really young. Our dad had us going, since we could really. But yeah, we've always kind of balanced golf with soccer and other things. And, we were dual sport athletes for quite a while playing golf. So it's always been part of our lives. And especially, I don't know, through high school, we got pretty competitive with it. So
yeah, we played high school golf.
This is crazy. So you were dual sport. I mean, obviously you're exceptional athletes, right? Because you can play soccer at the D1 school, which is like super hard to do. And it's not some crappy school like, I'm some little dinky school in the middle of nowhere. Like these are big schools. Like, the competition's like super hard to get into it. And the competition you play against is like the best of the best, right? Essentially in the United States. So I mean, you must like, how good are you in golf? Are you like scratch? Are you like 10 handicap? What are you?
Yeah, I'd say we're on 10. Like both of us are on 10, and we've been playing a lot recently and actually doing really well. So
this summer, right?
Yeah, we've been playing a ton together and being able to, obviously with being in the golf industry, it's like you're always finding yourself on a golf course.
Well, your dad probably has all the toys. Like
yeah, right.
Like, you have to. It's a tech company. It's like he probably has like the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like, do you have the whole like V1 mat and like into sim and all the cameras? Oh, you have all of that. You totally have to have all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, he doesn't have that. No.
No, we do.
No, he does. We're very lucky to have that. Yeah.
But yeah,
So like we were talking before the show today, and they're like, I'm like, oh, where you guys hitting the balls in the sim? And you're like, oh, it's our basement. And I was like, oh, it's sick. And then I see the V1 Sports. I'm like, oh yeah, duh. Like, I'm like, I think that's cool. What made you want to start a golf company? Like, did you one day you're like, hey, we want to start a golf company, or you're just like, oh, seriously? Because you guys are busy. It's not like you. I mean, I was in college. I wasn't wanting to start a company in college.
Yeah.
Especially as I was playing sports. There's like no time, right? Could you like practice, train, go to school? I mean, it's like your whole life, right? Like every day.
Yeah. So it's a funny story. Like we were talking about this. Like we were golfing. I think it was 2021. So now almost a year ago. Josh and I are playing, and we're walking up like 17 or 18 fairway or something like that. And I had no-show socks on, and Josh had mid calves on.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, my feet kill. Like my blisters were killing me. I was like limping down the fairway. It was awful.
Yeah.
And Josh, like, obviously looking back, he had these tan lines and these mid calves, like awful tan lines from golfing. Like all
I
summer.
strictly
You get tan from soccer though. That's not from golf.
Yeah, I mean it's different. Like we're like
I strictly wear mid calves golfing before the creation of the golf sock, and just because blisters, I never could deal with the sock rolling down my heel. It was the most.
Oh, I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling so much. Oh god, I heard where it bunches up in your shoe, and you're like, what the hell?
Even the slightest, like even just like 2%, if it's moving at all, I just can't deal with it. So
yeah, so that kind of planted the seed to like we kind of talked about it a little bit, not jokingly, but kind of just like, oh, like, what if we made a sock? Like that'd be cool. Like we want something a lot better than what there is. Fast forward a few months, we were like, okay, this is a really good idea. We should capitalize on it, and we started the company, and the rest is history, I guess.
So that was last year or 2 years ago?
So it was last year, about almost a year ago now.
Yeah, almost a year ago. It was in the summer.
So you're playing golf, and you're like, oh, we should start a stock company, like, and make a better sock for golf.
It was more about like, where's a good sock? Like we need better socks. And then it kind of transformed into, wait, there aren't any, we need to make one. So I guess we kind of pinpointed that as like the start of it, but that was more like the planting the seed in our minds. Like, oh, there's no really good options out there.
Yeah, I was going to say, we didn't really just maybe decide that day. I think we've always wanted to have some kind of business together or, make money together in some kind of way. And that was just something.
It was last summer, because I remember I was talking to your dad, and he was like, we're talking about socks one day, and he's like, you know any sock manufacturers? And I'm like, well, I know a couple. And like that was like last September.
Yeah,
September. I don't remember. Yeah. Like
that's when we really.
It was started. Like, I'm like, oh, I heard this really cool company. This is where they are. Like a manufacturer. Like, because when I started my own brand, like I didn't know anything, and so I just like, you get some reps and they some talking to you, and that's the hardest part, I think, like finding a good manufacturer that like will actually follow through or do a good job, or like, I don't know. The one thing I learned is like, yeah, you can get stuff cheaper overseas, but you're gonna pay for it another way, right? You're gonna pay through shipping, or the lack of communication, or whatever, like that's. So you decided to start a sock company last year, and what was the first thing you guys had to do? Like find a manufacturer, or were you designing a sock? Like what do you do? I have no idea.
Yeah. So I guess the first step was, kind of figuring out the trade route, kind of seeing where we could make it, who could make it. We wanted to stay in the United States, so that was pretty huge for us. We ended up finding someone in North Carolina.
Yeah, through you, Paul. Actually,
yeah, that we really liked. I think you're familiar with these Wilson guys.
Yeah.
And then we tried to cook up some prototypes. Went back and forth with them for a while.
So did you draw the prototype? Like I made a towel. Like it's not that hard to design a towel, right? So like, do you like draw a sock and be like, this is how I want my sock to look like, or do you say like, here's the features? Honestly, I have no idea.
Yeah, so we had like basically, it took a long time to kind of figure out what we wanted, but we like basically went through all the different socks that we'd seen and picked little pieces like, oh, we like that, we don't like that, and kind of formulated a big document with like all the stuff we thought.
You know what I like about your sock? Can I just tell you really quick?
Yeah,
I thought was really cool. I like that tabby thing, like in the back.
It's one of my favorite parts.
That's smart.
Yeah,
like for real. I know it sounds really dorky, but I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, here's the two things I like about your sock. I like the grip on the bottom, and I like the tabby thing on the back. You know, like I've never seen that. I mean, there's probably socks like that already out there, but like I buy my socks at Costco, you know, like my wife does. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so when I see something like that, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I want more of those, you know, because I think like, especially golf shoes, like you don't want that stuff to roll in your back of your heel.
Yeah. Like, you know, everyone's always like, oh, like when they get done with a round, like, thank God I just took my shoes off. Like you don't want that to happen. Like you want to be able to like be super comfortable through the whole round. And if you're walking, karting, anything, you know, be able to get through it all. So, you know, we were like, how do we?
So I tried these new shoes yesterday. They're not really that new, but like True Links sort of sent me these Rip Stops, they're called. They're like one of their newer shoes. It was like literally the most comfortable shoe I've ever put on my foot. Like I was like, oh my God, what'd you guys do? Like they already make really good shoes. And I was like, this is even. So like I couldn't imagine where that and your sock, like that would be so comfortable. Like I would want to wear that. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, you're wearing these heavy ass shoes with a thick ass sock, and then you're just feet all sweaty and gross, and then like crampy. I don't know. Sorry, I'm like totally getting into like weird foot stuff. So okay, so like that tabby thing, like was that already socks like that out there, or is that some like feature you saw and you're like, hey, we could try that?
Yeah. So kind of like Owen was talking about earlier, we ordered a bunch of different socks, and we saw some that were trying to do that little tab. We definitely got a little bit more aggressive with it. And also just the placement is right for golf shoes. They usually come up a little higher on the ankle, which is, you know, the main problem for the sock getting pulled down. So just with the ankle cuff being a little higher and then the tab on the back, it's not a completely original idea, but we definitely adapted it to fit the golf shoe better.
So what features are on your sock that is different than say a Puma sock, you know, or some random sock brand, you know, you would buy?
Yeah. So basically the main thing that we found that like no one's doing is the grip on the bottom. So like we've been in soccer, like obviously for a long time, there's some sock companies in soccer that are really expensive, but they charge like, they have the grips in the bottom to help you from sliding in your shoes when you play soccer. So like, oh, we've seen this work, you know, we can move this into golf. So we spent a lot of time like trying to get it right on the grips on the bottom. I think we figured out a pretty good way to do that.
What does the grips on the bottom of a sock really do? I know when you're like walking without shoes on, what it does, but like, what about when like for when you're wearing a shoe, what does the grip on the sock bottom of the sock do? Does it really help you so it doesn't slip inside? Is that what happens? I'm assuming.
Yeah. I think you'd honestly be a little bit surprised. You don't really notice that obviously until you try it. But the same thing goes with, you know, the soccer socks that we're talking about. Once you get that feeling of just really being stuck to the bottom of your shoe, you know, imagine just really trying to get after a drive. You know, a little slip in there will just kind of throw you off, even if it's just a few centimeters.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Just trying to stay as locked in as possible. Like let your golf shoes do their job. You know, if your studs are working properly, your shoes aren't going to move. So the only thing left to move is your sock or your foot inside of your shoe. So if you can eliminate that as well, I mean, that's really what we're going for.
Mm-hmm.
You get all these like different designs of socks that come in, right? Like, okay, here's a bunch of socks we make, you know, or here's a bunch of styles, whatever. In your mind, you probably already know, like, okay, I kind of want it like this, you know, based on my own preference, right? But really, you have to kind of go through what you have and say, okay, I like this, but I don't like that, and vice versa, and like, you know, put things together and come up with a design, right, based on all the parameters of what you like. So then what happens? So then you guys come up with the design and they make the sock. And then how did you guys come across like what is the landscape like for the golf sock industry? I have no idea.
Yes, I mean the hardest part obviously was, so obviously there's a lot of sock manufacturers, you know, in the US, and we were like, okay, we found one who is willing to really work with us to make it like how we want to make it and not just make general socks. And we started off like, hey, we don't want to make like a bunch of just like white cotton socks.
Yeah.
What we're going for. So, you know, they had some like kind of template models they had that were pretty basic that we could kind of add on to.
Like, I do. I don't want to be a basic sock. Like,
exactly. We don't want to make 100,000 pairs for 5 cents each right now. Like, you know, we're making like really quality product that's going to be, you know, expensive and quality and very like, you know, thought out. So we went through and like they had this base sock they gave us. They shipped us some samples. We picked from about 3 or 4 different socks, and we said we want to add this. We added the tabs. We added the blister prevention. We added compression. we worked with them with the different material makeup,
stitching,
between like polypro, nylon, spandex. And we have like, just talking about all these different things, who knew how much went into making a sock? And we were like, I had no idea this was like all part of the process. Like it's so much,
You're actually designing something like, it's easy to make a hat, right? Because essentially you're just putting a thing on the top, like you buy it. Like I didn't understand that until I was at Devereaux's office one day and they're designing stuff, like physically designing, like they have the patterns and they have the materials. And I'm like, holy crap. Like you don't realize how much it takes to actually design something. You know what I mean? Like you're literally starting from scratch.
You have to like think all the way down to the 1%, like, is that stitch in the right place, or do we like the way that seam feels? Yeah,
because if you go buy like 10,000 of those and then you realize you hate it because of whatever reason, because it feels weird on the foot. Now you're stuck with 10,000 socks, whatever that might be.
Yeah, so we had to it took a lot longer than we thought. Like we're like, oh, we're gonna launch by the new year, after last fall, and then we're like, oh wait, we don't like that. We need to redo it. And we need to redo it. So we ended up launching in June, which obviously was a lot later than we thought, but
that's all right.
We're really glad that we did that because we got it like exactly how we wanted to. So we were like, let's wait till we get exactly what we want. So we didn't rush it at all, which was really good.
Yeah,
I think that's the hardest part with starting any business is like you have a good idea and then you try to go put together and make whatever it is, and then you start getting like antsy about it because you're like, it's taking too long, and then you realize how much capital you're putting into it, right? And then you're like, there's like so many, it's easy to bring a thing to market. It really is. You can build a website in no time at all on Shopify. It looks like crap. And you can go buy some crap in China and they're just product, right? But like there's so much more that has to go into it to even make it work, because you get the most beautiful site and the best product, but then how do you get it out there? Like, you go pay for ads, so Facebook takes half your money. I mean, like that's the next thing, right? Like I don't think people understand that. I didn't. I think like,
right?
Yeah.
So
you think what you have is cool and people will want to buy it, but then how in the hell are they going to find it? Like that's the next problem.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've only been launched for a few weeks now, and every time that someone gets our socks, we get a review. We ship them out. Like they're loving our socks, but like, how do we reach all the people that would love our socks? But haven't seen them yet.
That's the hard part. I think that's the hardest part in any business. I think like, cause I remember when I talked to you guys a couple months ago and you're like, oh yeah, the site's being built, blah, blah, blah. And I checked it out. And your site's really good, by the way. I mean, design, I love the design. I need to talk about that offline. You guys did a really good job. But like, it took you it's been a year, right? Almost like here's July. You started thinking about this last August. So it took you 11 months to get to this point to launch, right? And then now it's just like, okay, I guess what is how are you marketing the sock? How do you convince a person to buy a sock, right? Not buy the ones at Costco 10-pack or whatever.
Yeah. So, we've been like, that's been a lot of our efforts the last few weeks is like, creating video content, getting videos from, people who have bought our socks or from people that, influencers we've sent them to, who tried them out and really like them. Getting like really like honest feedback about the socks in video form, especially, and using TikTok, Instagram, like Instagram Reels, moving in, using Facebook and stuff like that, really to try to find our audience and like get our sock out there. But organic, word of mouth and stuff is really starting to pick up. Like we found like that, a lot of people are starting to talk about it, and it's kind of moving along, slowly but surely. So, it's been a process.
Definitely
it's like little step at a time, essentially. Like you're not gonna go viral overnight, and also not have to sell out. Like that doesn't happen, right? Like essentially, like it's just like you're just chipping away at it, right? And then it's trial and error. Does that thing work? Yes or no? No, yes. Then you move on. You try the next thing, and like so. Right now, is your marketing mainly on social, I would assume, and then probably a little bit of ads, right?
Yeah, it's mainly on social. We're definitely running ads on Facebook, Instagram, etc. But
is that even helping? Would you think?
Yeah, right. It's doing all right.
We're definitely.
I was told boosted posts do pretty well. That's what I was told.
What'd you say?
We're doing that.
What post?
What post?
Boosted, like the boosted posts you can do,
yeah.
like I've had some smaller brands, like haven't been on the show, but just friends of mine, and they're like, that's what they said they were doing that, and they said that's like, I'm like, seriously, that works? Because usually that never works, right? They're like, oh yeah, it works. I'll get like some sales out of it, and it doesn't cost all that much. I was like, for real? Because like usually, you have to put it in the whole Facebook engine essentially, right, on the back end of Facebook, and it's like this big ordeal and finding your, I think that's the key to ads though. Like if it's just to make it easy on people to run them, right? Essentially, like don't make this big, huge pain in the ass that like you need a degree to figure out how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is your guys' play like just your store online and running, or are you going to try to move to like Amazon and other stuff like that?
Yeah. So for now, at least, we're definitely just running it through the website. I think that there is a future where we might go to Amazon, but it seems really the right play for us to just keep it within our own site and try not to involve too many other people. Just because direct to consumer makes it easy on us. And, if we start pulling in like PGA Superstore or, like other retailers, there's a huge markup. We're already selling inexpensive.
Yeah, what's the cost for a pair of socks?
Yeah, so right now it's $24.99, but we have a discount on our site for first orders, and there's free shipping over 3 pairs. So there's some good deals on the site right now, especially because we just launched and we have a lot of incentive, incentivized deals.
So a pair of socks is $24.99 outside of discounts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the hard part because like I think getting the audience or the people out there to be not my audience. I'm just saying like generally like okay, and I have to convince them that you made a better sock, right? And it's worth the money. And then like this is like I had a brand come to me that like had a super expensive item that like literally it's a $5 item, and then theirs is like $100, right? And I was like, bro, I can buy this on Amazon for like $5. And he's like, oh, mine's better because of all these reasons. I'm like, well, you're gonna have a hell of a time convincing people to spend 10 times more to buy the same damn thing. Like it has to be the coolest thing ever, right? Like essentially, and like I think that's the hard part, and not just for you guys, but for everybody. Like I need myself is like, why are you different? Right. And then really kind of figuring out why people should choose that over just like the standard thing, whatever that is, right? Like whether it's a ball marker, whether it's, a sock, whether it's a towel, whatever, like I think it's the education of people. So I think, so for you guys, is that what you're trying to do with your content you're doing now is primarily like educate people like why you need this, why this sock is better than the sock you're already using right now, right? Because you can go spend $200 on a pair of shoes. Why don't you spend $20 on a sock that's part of your, your tools, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, that's where a lot of our content is focused. And like you said, that's kind of the name of the game for us right now because of our price point, because of, the effort they went into making this. It's like we call it the golf glove for your foot. It's
like,
smart. You can drop, $30 at a pro shop for a glove or whatever. Why don't you do the same for your foot? So
yeah, that's true, right? You're gonna buy a decent glove for $20, right? A decent glove, not some cheap ass one, but like a decent one. You can spend more than that. You can probably spend 30, 35. You can go up to 40 on some gloves, which is stupid. It's like finding the sweet spot, right? Like performance versus cost, I guess is a better way of saying it.
Yeah.
No, I think it's cool. I mean, I think like it's neat that you guys did that. So like you launched essentially a couple weeks ago, and then how has the reception been? Pretty good.
Yeah, it's been really positive, honestly, especially with, I know we mentioned like we've been making a lot of content on TikTok and Instagram. We've got a lot of good feedback, like really positive feedback, kind of affirming what we thought would be, popular in the product, between like the grips and the tab on the back, like we talked about. People have also said that they think, hey, like your stock's expensive. And we're like, yeah, here's why we think it, is the value it is. So it's been good to be able to, educate people on why like this is different. That's half the battle, educating the buyer and like why they should buy the product, right? It's like, why is this product different than a Costco sock? And it's like, okay, well, we can tell you that, we're prepared to be able to tell you that, we're not like scratching our heads like, oh, you're right. We're like, okay, thank you for this feedback, but here's exactly why, it's worth every penny.
Yeah. We're not just some cotton tube, it's kind of like the blend of materials, the thought that went into every detail, the right and left shaping. We could go down the line for quite a while on.
Yeah, I mean, you could. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, people can spend a lot less money, but they're just getting like you said, a cotton tube for your foot. Like, I mean, it's nothing. There's like zero technology in it, right? Like, it's just a piece of cotton. The same sock that's been around for 100 years, essentially.
Yeah, no one's really brought this. Like, it's kind of that's another thing. Like, no one's really done this level of like sock before. Like, we have to educate people. Like, hey, this exists now. Like, we're not trying to jump into some giant market. Like, this market is pretty untapped. Like, not many people are in like the high end golf sock market.
So, do you have competitor? Like, is there other sock people like you out there? Is there? Do you have a direct competitor right now?
Not in the golf industry.
Not really. I mean, people like Bombas and Swiftwick, features, but they're not. They're just big running sock or comfortable sock companies that might dabble in golf, but no one's really in the the golf industry socks, high performance, doing sticky socks and stuff like that. Really focus on golfers.
Yeah,
no one's really doing that.
So you'd be essentially the first to try to do something like this. That's not like that's your direct competitor. It's Sock Man or something. I don't know.
Right. No, it's pretty like literally we're just trying to like pave the way and educate like buyers right now. And that's that's part
the thing is like if you can move this on to other categories, right? Like it doesn't have to stay in golf. It could go to baseball, or you could be like, oh, technology we use, we made a soccer sock, or we made a whatever sock, know.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, and
I think the key is too, like I think if it was me, well, I think you're too early, but like I would start trying to like talk to other brands, like shoe brands, like not big ass shoe brands, but like the small to mid-sized shoe brands, and be like, hey, can we do a pair of socks with your shoes, right? Or something like that. So people can be like, oh, what's that? Like it's like, like essentially you're giving away a free pair of socks with a shoe company that sells a buttload of shoes. So that people can start seeing like, I don't know. Like, I think that would be like a good ally for you essentially.
Yeah, that partnership would make a lot of sense. It's pretty.
Or you could do a custom sock with like take your sock, but take your branding off of it, and then put like whatever other brand on there, like that shoe company, and be like, oh, it's a whoever sock, and then it like at least it's your sock being shared, or I don't really know. Like I think like that would be a good way of like cross pollinating, between brands.
I like that. It's a good word for it.
Yeah,
we've definitely considered.
I mean, it's hard. Like that's the key. If you can get the collabs, like that's huge. Because essentially it just gives you automatic street cred, right? Like, oh, okay. Even if it's a small, batch or something. I don't really know. That's the hard. But I mean, you guys are in college and you're still playing sports, so it's not like you have a full time. Like right now it's fine, but like when do you guys go back to school? Like in 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
Yeah, about 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks. But yeah, we've been, obviously you've been working a ton this summer, and with the launch and everything, it's been really busy.
It's a lot of work.
Right.
A ton of work.
We're definitely like, very committed to, grinding this out together. And, we've been wanting to work together for years. So it's been like, honestly, a dream come true.
Yeah, you guys are twins, man. You guys are like,
it's great.
I bet you guys are like super close. Like, essentially, you're the same person.
Right. So it's really
what I mean? I'm not trying to be like, what I'm saying? Like you guys are like, you're not just your brothers, you're twins. Like that's different. That's like a whole other level of brother, right?
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
So we're like, we love doing this. So it's like, it's fun for us. So like doing this.
Well, you build a template, right? Like you've now done it. Like even if this doesn't do well, I'm not saying it will or won't, but like now you've done it and you're like, oh, we could do that in this other thing because I know now how to do it, right? Essentially, and you've learned how to build it.
Yeah. I think it's just really cool that we've made something that we feel really good about, and we're just confident, and we just love wearing the socks. We love marketing it. It's just it's fun for us. It makes sense.
It's a game. It's a big game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The challenge, right? It's a challenge of the thing, and then it's a game of like you have a good idea, and now it's trying to figure out how to get it out there and like make it grow, right?
Yeah.
And like you're gonna change the design. This is just V1, right? Essentially. So like you probably already have ideas of like, okay, the next batch we're gonna get rid of this thing or we're gonna add that thing. And the problem is you have to buy like a buttload of them every time you buy some. So you have to like wait a while. That's okay though.
Yeah, we have time.
The nice thing is too, everybody has feet. So it's not like, oh yeah, I only need one hat, right, or one glove. It's like, okay, if somebody uses the sock and they like it and it helps them, then they're gonna buy another one, right? When it tears, or like they're gonna buy, or it's gonna be their daily sock. They're gonna be happy with that sock. I'm gonna buy 5 pair, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, we've had like multiple people reorder already. Like they're like, "Yo, like this is sweet. Like we want it again." So like, and we've gotten feedback from people, like even people we've sent stuff to, like, "Hey, like I want more. Like I'm gonna go grab some more." Like it's just like really cool to see that people are like getting some and trying them out, really enjoying them, and buying more because they just want multiple pairs to wear and rotate. It's been pretty cool.
So what do you feel is your biggest lead magnet right now? Do you think it's social, or do you think it's ads?
I'd say social right now. Ads are doing okay, but ads are, especially after the iOS updates, like ads
it's impossible. It's
super
right expensive.
But with social, it's good because a lot of our stuff's organic, and that takes time. You kind of have to plant the seed and let it grow. But organic stuff really works and snowballs. I think that if you can have the right channels, keep pressing the right buttons, getting to the right audiences, like when people start sharing your stuff, it's kind of like a snowball effect.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the lead generation with social has been pretty good. And like, even people like that we've sent to, like literally posting something like, "Oh my gosh, like, I love this." Like, and we haven't even asked some people to do that. Like people just post it, and that's organic content that's like screams at the customer, like, "Oh, this is sweet."
Yeah. The only cost is, well, I mean, if it's a customer who buys it and then makes a video, that's like the best scenario.
Yeah.
But if but then it's like, okay, you send out a pair of socks, like your cost to do that, essentially. So then you're like, okay, well, that's the cost, which is way less than paying some like massive influencer person money to do it. It's like, I don't know. Like I know brands, honestly, I have one brand in mind right now that is all they did like for 2 years, and they were teeny tiny, and like, but this guy, a buddy of mine, like he just blew it up because he sent out to so many influencers, like small, like small mid-sized influencers, nothing crazy, and like for the brand, it's just the cost of the product plus the shipping, essentially, and it's a complete roll of the dice because some people may or may not follow through, right, with what they say they're going to do, but if it doesn't matter, because in the end you're still going to have a bunch of content that you can post that only costs you a little bit of money, and at least brings the credibility of like, oh, these are cool, check it out. But no, I think it's cool.
Exactly. No, I think we found a lot of success with like getting in front of micro influencers. I'd say like people who have decent amount of followers and good pull with their community, and being like, "Hey, we'd love for you to try our sock out. Let us know what you think, some feedback. And, if you want to create a video, that'd be great too." And
so you guys didn't have to, so who's following up with those people?
Yes, that's basically me. I've been on that.
All the time. Hey, do the sock? Do you like the sock? Hey, do you like the sock? I sock. You have to do that because people are busy and they have a shitload of stuff. Like,
and we realized like how like the golf community, especially like we found, has been like actually like insanely like receptive of like being like, "Oh yeah, we'd love to try it out," or like, "We'd love to help you guys out," or this is awesome. Like, how can we share and like help you guys grow? Like, it's been like super cool to like interact with different like influencers and people. Like, I'm not
pretty cool.
I'm not. Some
people are stupid. Like some people like at some point, some people are like, "Oh yeah, $500, and I start laughing. I'm like, "Oh man,
yeah,
like, okay, no, thanks." And it's like, you bought your followers. I can tell. Like nobody comments, nobody likes. Like it's like so obvious. People think that we're stupid. It's like, oh, I have X thousands of followers, and then you look and you have like 3 comments on every post. It's like,
what's interaction?
Followers are secondary almost. You really just, especially on platforms like TikTok where the algorithm kind of takes over, like if they're getting views on their videos, that's all we care about,
Yeah, it's like, are you getting views? Like, is your
you can see that in 2 seconds. Oh, they're getting views on it? No, they're not. It's not worth our time.
Like, is your content creative? Like do you have like cool stuff we'd like to work with? And like,
does it fit our brand basically?
Yeah, so it's been cool.
Yeah,
and I really have to hire you to like do my follow up then for all my stuff. I don't like doing it. I hate doing that. It's a full-time job sometimes. It's like, okay, I mean, you gotta track it and be like, okay, we sent this. Yeah, that's a lot of work. I mean,
I have like a full document of like all the stuff I've sent out, like where the people are at. Like,
yeah, you have to track it, and when you sent it, and then be like, oh, I'm gonna follow up with these
this
people
day,
2 weeks later,
yeah,
right?
Definitely a job, but I think it's like I was talking about earlier, like ads are great, but like planting the seed organically and like sending your product out, like that's your cost, like sending product out, and then being able to like know that cost. Number one, they're getting your product, so they can share it word of mouth. Two, like they can make a video and share it with other people. Like it's just a crazy way to get organic like feedback and like content. Mm-hmm. I think we're just starting to see the benefits of that like, in the last few days.
Yeah, literally last 2 or 3 days.
Like what? Because you sent it out 2 weeks ago, and now it's starting to be created essentially.
Yeah, so we sent it out like 2 or 3 weeks ago. We got some videos that trickled in like pretty fast. And now like a lot of guys who've worn them a bunch are like making videos for us and like sharing. And there's so much like you said, like cross pollination between like oh, some guy posts, another guy we know comments like, oh, these are great, and then someone else posts, and it's like everything's kind of like feeding off each other without us even touching it. It's kind of just like letting it ride. So it's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and you just keep on feeding it, right? Keep on feeding it more and more people that are similar, because those are your buyers.
Yeah,
right? Like people like that, not some old dude, who doesn't care about a sock, who wants to go to Costco and buy it. Like it's the guy who's like excited about the product, right? Like that's the key.
Yeah,
and that's the hard part. It's good for you guys because you care, right? If you go hire somebody to go do that for you, they don't care. They're getting paid by the hour. They're getting paid by the job. Like they don't care. Like at the end of the day, they don't care, right? Like, I mean, they're going to show you, oh, we got return on investment, blah blah blah. But like, you guys care because it's your stuff, and like you're like, oh, people likes that, awesome, like.
Yeah, and it's really just we're making a sock that people like and they like to wear, and we get like these good positive reviews. It's just like a content machine. We're getting new stuff for our ad sets. We're working with people that really like our product, which is just great.
Yeah, it's been great.
That's cool. I mean, I'm happy for you guys. I think like you're doing it the right way, and you're learning the skills early on that really will move the needle, because you could easily just like build a website, go run ads, spend a boatload of money on ads, get some sales. But like 6 months from now, are you going to be like, oh, we have all this information about like who our people are, who's our community, why do they care, how can we better it? Like you're not going to know any of that. You're going to like, oh, we spent $10,000 on ads and we got this much back, or whatever the math is, and that's the hard part. Like that's the money right there. Like the community is the key, and to build that community around your brand. Like, so I think you also have one of the best mentors in the world, like helping you too.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, we're very lucky to have like really good people around us, helping us out.
Oh yeah, you got some freaking smart people around you guys. Like,
yeah, it's been
like I know who works with your dad, like all his people, and they're all freaking smart too. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah,
it's very accomplished, like people, like who've done this before, but like in their own stuff. So it's kind of cool because like they understand. Like when I started out, I knew nothing. I wasn't into like I'm a crappy golfer essentially, right? So like I didn't know like how does the golf industry work? Who's who? I don't know that stuff.
Right. So yeah, we've been able to like really use like our resources and like be able to like ask a lot of good questions. And I think that's important. Like for anyone, it's like finding a mentor to ask good questions to like help you avoid some stupid mistakes. It's like that's just like
a rabbit hole you fall into, and you think, oh, this is the best thing ever. Let's do this. Like I'll tell you right now, like don't diversify. Like just stick with the sock. Like be the best sock company that's ever been around. Essentially, don't come out with hats. Don't come out with like crap that nobody cares about. Like just don't spend your time or money on that right now. Just make a really good sock. Like because I've done that, and it doesn't like you become saturated essentially. Like you only have so much time, so much money. Now you're selling all kinds of junk. Now you're freaking Amazon. Just sell and that was some advice somebody gave me from a big company, a shoe company. They're like, oh yeah, we're only good at one thing, making good shoes. That's it. That's all we care about. Yeah. If we're gonna make a hat, we'll go collab with the hat guy, because they're good at making hats. And I'm like, oh my God, such good advice. And I wasn't even doing anything back then. It was just like, we're just talking about how they run their business. They're like a multi-million-dollar company now at this point.
We feel
that's
like
my advice to you. Just stick to one thing.
Yeah, we feel like sock experts, like Josh said. Like, it's like we've done over the last year, like the amount of sock stuff we've been in and learned about and like talked about and been able to like physically do is like it's been crazy. I had no idea how much went into a sock. I mean, I don't even know if that's part of the thing. Is like I don't think people have really explored like putting that much into a sock, especially in golf. Like
Yeah.
And maybe in running or hiking, but nowhere near the amount of stuff to make a golf sock that looks quality and looks good. It's not like, oh, it's really comfortable, but it looks terrible. It's like it also looks really clean.
And I mean,
yeah, you get the most comfortable sock in the world. It could look like crap, and no one's gonna buy it.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. I mean, even down to like biometrics of the foot. Like I remember looking at pressure map data with our like V1 mat, all the way down to like foot mechanics, just like trying to figure out the best pattern on the bottom of the sock for the silicone printing. There's like a lot of just niche details that you wouldn't really normally think about when making clothing, but we have like a 25-page document about like the design of the sock, and that's like touching the surface of like what we thought about. It's like, it's crazy.
And you probably know now more now than you did 6 months ago anyways. And you're like, oh yeah, that first batch, we're going to change it because whatever the feedback is or what you've learned or.
I mean, after we like created the sock and we thought, oh, this is going to be perfect. We realized, either there's some cap on like the quality that can be put into it or, the cost. Like we're figuring out new systems to improve to, we're always going to be trying to make it better. So the 2.0 is already in the back of our heads for sure.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, I'm happy for you guys. I'm excited too. I think like you guys are doing all the right things. And I mean, you're only a couple weeks into it, but like, 6 months from now, you're going to be like, doing really well, I feel like. So it's cool.
Thank you.
So where can people find you?
Yeah. So, thegolfsock.com is our website. It's pretty easy to remember. And then our socials are the Golf Sock as well on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And Twitter, honestly, as well. And we've been, just putting out a lot of content. And, any feedback we can get, for our socks is like super appreciated. On our socials, we're really active, so we'll respond in 10 seconds.
Yeah, actually, if you have like, anybody watching, if there's questions, whatever, we love answering anything we can about the sock. So
yeah, because your accounts, like you're on it all the time, anyways. You're like, you'll be talking to us, not like, some rando person. And
we don't have some bot saying thank you for checking us out or whatever, on our account.
No, so yeah.
It's the bot.
No, I'm right here. It's me. So I'm on the account for any, literally any questions or anything. So yeah,
that's funny.
Great. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for being on the show today. You guys need to check out the Golf Sock. I have a pair. They're sick. I told you I've already played with it. I love the little tabby thing on the back. So I think it's not just a sock. It's more of like, I feel it's more of like a golf accessory. Like it's something you need as part of your uniform, right? Whatever you're going to wear and use on the course. So, and that's a better way of saying it, just calling it a sock, because I don't feel like it's a sock. It's like a well thought out designed product to help you have better traction in your shoes and to perform better on the course. So
exactly.
I appreciate you guys being on the show, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Behind the Golf Brand Podcast.
You're going to beat me at golf?
Stay connected on and off the show by visiting golfersauthority.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Golf is always more fun when you win.
Stay out of the beach and see you on the green.